Do it.
Blast me hearties, and welcome once again to Full Stream Ahead. Arrgh. I be your Captain Charlie, the Professoresser, and with me as always is me first mate and skinny rich friend.
It's Mozz.
Hey Mozz, so glad you could join us. Tonight's episode, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Part 2. On a dangerous, crime-ridden world, Obi-Wan becomes a target. Deborah Chow, our director again. Our writers are Joby Harold, gets our teleplay by, along with, story by Stuart Betty and Hossein Amini. Oh. George Lucas, of course, gets the based on Star Wars by. Big shout out to Flea in this one. He had a job. He is vexed.
Flea showed up in the first episode, right? When he first kidnaps Leia.
Yeah, he did. Flea was there too. Though this episode does have
Kumail Nanjiani.
I'm sorry?
Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah, there he is. Kumail Nanjiani. Kingo himself.
Mm-hmm.
He is making his way through the Disney archives, getting on all the shows.
Good for him.
So now he's a Marvel character. You know, I love him. I loved him in this because he's actually a pretty cool character. I hope we haven't seen the last of him.
I do too.
Because he's actually, you know, there's a part of me that wants to believe that he was like a youngling that escaped. Like, he knows of the Force, but he doesn't really know the Force, you know.
Man, what
or something like that.
What better way to throw people off your scent than to be a really bad fake? You know, like, oh, that guy.
Really, yeah. I mean,
if he really is, like, to have Max be like, oh, if that was a Jedi, he wouldn't need Max. What a beautiful cover. I would love for that to be true. That would be great.
Yeah, I would love that. I mean, I don't know if that's what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to do it beyond just the scene we've seen. I don't know how often he's going to be in here. But like I said, he's such a cool character in this at the start of it. And he is the, you know, and this is the idea. It's like, you know, yeah, all the Jedi are, or not all the Jedi, but the legend of the Jedi persists. And so it's a great place for the villains of the world to utilize the Jedi legend to, you know, fleece some sheep as they do.
I don't think he's being a villain here, because think about it. That lady and her child had no way of getting off the planet. Somehow, whatever the story he spins to make it sound whatever, but he did get those people off the planet. There was a guy there, whether or not he was really Jedi mind tricking him, or whether or not that was somebody on the payroll that says, okay, we're going to sneak people off the planet, you know, whatever people want to hear. But he was using the name for good, you know, and maybe, you know.
Well, exactly. And I think,
but in the end, he helped like a young family make it off the planet. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And that is, I think, meant to be the point. Is like, you know, at the end of the day, whatever he's doing it to do good.
Right.
He is taking his cut, but he's doing good. And I think, you know, there's that concept, you know, within, it's the Han Solo concept, you know, where Han Solo, he has a moral code. He's not like Flea. He's not stealing babies, you know. He has his moral compass, and within that moral compass is also the idea that, you know, there are lines you don't cross.
See, that's
you want to make your money,
because in the last episode, I had mentioned that what occurred is interesting to me was that the way to fight all of this broad evil is to not let power coalesce in the first place, right? So everybody should be responsible for being a responsible person. So like I think what the Force, the way it really should be used, is everyone should get in touch with the Force so they can learn to use it. It's only when people don't know what to do with their own Force, when they don't have a purpose, when they don't know what they stand for, that they're willing to give up that right to their life to some other purpose, right? And if more people knew what their purpose was, or who they really were, then maybe power wouldn't be able to coalesce, because nobody would be willing to give away their power to somebody else if they knew what they stood for. Maybe that's the real lesson of the Force. If everybody learned to get to know the Force, they would know themselves well enough that there could never be an empire.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree. I think that, and this is one of the things I always make a point about, is that, you know, when the reason why Han Solo got in trouble was because the Empire pulled up on him while he was hauling weapons. And who is he hauling weapons for is the real question. And the answer is likely the rebellion. That Jabba the Hutt is here selling weapons to the rebellion because, first of all, obviously a good business opportunity, but also because the Hutt don't want the Empire breathing down his neck either, you know. And the idea that you can be a good person while you're doing self-serving actions is something I think that gets. I mean, I think in our storytelling, we do deal with it a lot, but I think that too often there is this urge to make someone a real hero rather than just, you know, no, I am self-serving, but I also have a moral code. But yeah, so this is neat because, of course, what we have in here is we have, and again, Obi-Wan just showing his cowardice, if you will. You know, he does not want to engage with the world. He does not want to engage with anyone because he has been too badly hurt. He is basically, you know, he is basically a guy who has gone through so much, and he does not want to have to face what the world has, because he is damaged. But no one else feels he should be allowed to have his trauma. And they're like, I need you to do this. We know you can do this. We know that you're the hero. And it's not that he doesn't know he's the hero. It's that he is so messed up that he can't even see himself as the hero anymore. And when I'm forgetting his name, but the act, you know,
the Grand Inquisitor, or
Leah's father, Leah's adopted father.
Trying
to remember his name here.
Jimmy Smits, I think, right?
Yeah, Jimmy Smits. That's the answer. Jimmy Smits, who is, you know, Mr. Organa. He Tatooine. Because, of course, Obi-Wan's not taking his calls. And because he goes to Tatooine, he's like, listen, you're the only one that can save her. You know, much in the same way that Leah would. So we'll start from there.
Yeah. So, right. Her father getting.
Yeah. So Jimmy Smits has come to Tatooine to get Obi-Wan to do his duty, to help. And you know, it's not easy to convince Obi-Wan to do this, because Obi-Wan is at this point still beaten down by his own failures, as it were. He is still feeling the trauma of killing his best friend, or at least mutilating his best friend.
As far as he knows right now, killing his best friend.
Yeah, that's the thing. And until this episode,
right? But
because this is where
know that yet.
Yeah, the third sister, who is called the third sister, and it's interesting because there's a debate as to who she is, and there is the theory that she was a youngling, like she would have been in that age area where she could have been one of the younglings who the Jedi could not protect. And because
then why? I guess that's why she has that anger towards Obi-Wan. Or he does say that a lot of Jedis were turned over to becoming Inquisitors.
Yeah, I mean
that's interesting, because when the Inquisitor said, the Grand Inquisitor says in the last episode, I'm not hunting Jedis. Jedi hunt Jedis. So what he means is, look, I have all these Jedi with me. They're the ones hunting them. I'll let them do the work. I'm just here to do the killing. They do the hunting.
Well, exactly. And to be fair, like he says, the Jedi reveal themselves. The Jedi make themselves known. They want to say they're hiding, but very, very rarely can they hide, The only one that truly stayed hidden was, of course, Yoda, who really just tried to become one with the Force. Because Yoda was trying to understand the greater meaning of it all. Whereas, all the other Jedi, they felt the need to be a paladin, They felt the need to be a hero in their story. Which we saw how well that worked out for.
They always had a little bit of Karen in them. They always had a little bit of Karen in them.
Yeah, well, exactly, because to be fair, that's the problem, is right. That when you have power, when you have authority, when you have a sense of moral good, it is easily manipulated to be an oppression. And I think that is what we saw with the Jedi at the end of the Republic, which was that all of this ideal of the Jedi had become oppression. It had become this statement of, we do not deal, we do not deal in emotion, we do not deal in anger. And the fact of the matter is these are parts of being a sentient being. How can you say it is by its nature wrong if by its nature you exist? We have to find the true balance, which I think is the overarching theme of the entire Star Wars universe. That you have to find that balance within the Force. That the one who brings balance to the Force isn't the one who kills everyone who makes the Force imbalanced, although arguably maybe Anakin did in fact do that.
Right. I think both sides understood the prophecy as saying that not that he would bring balance to the Force, but they misunderstood that prophecy and mistook it to mean that he would bring balance to the power structures fighting for the use of the Force, right? It had nothing.
Exactly.
Right. So it was talking about bringing balance to the Force, not necessarily to any power structure.
Exactly, because that's the point, is that you can't have balance if there is a power structure. Balance means all things are equal. All things flow as they're supposed to. Not that someone has a plan and a guide and a master structure. But we did mention we do have our our phony Jedi, Camille. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to see what his name was.
Nanjiani.
Yeah, Kamal Nanjiani. He is Haja Estri. Haja Estri is his character's name. I do like what he brings to the table. Not the least of which is just that he is a
cosplaying fanboy.
Yeah, he is a charlatan, but he knows he is, and just because he's a charlatan doesn't mean he doesn't do good. He knows what the Force is. Like, this is the guy that Han Solo would meet years later, who would say he's a guru and a shaman and knows all this, and Han Solo's going to see through him and see the magnets,
Right.
And that's the.
But that's the thing, though. People like that aren't trying to put one over on anybody that doesn't want one put over on them, right? They're creating the situation. Somebody says, I want to suspend my disbelief. And he says, I'll do a decent enough job so that you will convince yourself. That's the service he provides. And nobody wants to say it, but that's the real language that's being spoken. That's the real exchange being made between two sentient beings. It's like, I want to trick myself. I want to fool myself. I want to feel better. He goes, well, I'll give you some parlor tricks. And if you try real hard, we can make this work, and that's really,
yeah.
So like those people serve a purpose in society, and you can't advertise that service straight out. Oh, I'm here. You have to put on the game. That's the only way that game can work is with a put on.
Oh yeah, exactly. And the fact of the matter is that, as we said previously, he got that family off the planet. He got them where they were going. Yeah, they had to make a donation. But it's a very interesting.
I think the world would be better if we just let it be that, rather than an empire or the republic controlling every aspect of it. Whatever locally find somebody that'll get it done for you, and I think
yeah, there could be some good in that. The problem is that there's always someone that will have excessive power in that situation, and
right. And that's why everybody should be taught how to understand the Force from the get-go, so you never raise adults that can be tempted.
Exactly. And that is really the crux of it, is like, you need to have people understand their place in the universe, and everyone should know that they are all connected. Everyone should know that they are all connected to the Force. I like the fact in this that, Obi-Wan goes to the meth lab and figures out how to get in, and really does some really great covert Jedi stuff, all without using the Force, which I think is really telling, because he knows the second he taps into the Force, that's going to make him a big red flare.
And it looks like
for all the people hunting him.
Long time.
Right. You even see him using a blaster in this, because he knows, even though he has his lightsaber with him, he knows the second he pulls it out, that's utilizing the Force, and that is going to make him known. And again, one of these things that I really liked in this was when Camille Estri gets captured by the Inquisitor, and he's trying his best to do his best. He's not up to stand against the Sith mind tricks, but he is like, at last we meet, and he's doing the full show for her.
He's just a getting to live out his LARPing fantasy.
I know it. And this is why I really hope this is not the last we've seen of him.
Right, because she just gets what she wants and she leaves him, right? She doesn't kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Yeah, I would love to see him and the little kid go on to do more.
Yeah.
My big hope is that little kid that he's with, that's actually Lando. That's like 10-year-old Lando. It's I mean, the timeline doesn't really work, but it's like,
All right.
that he has a little Lando with him. Who knows? Maybe that's Finn. I don't know, but it would be cool if the little kid that he's working with, who's his, who does the running for him, his numbers runner, is actually Lando. That would be so cool at the end of the story,
Yeah.
Because you always want that deeper lore, and we know Lando is a hustler. That is the define. I mean, the guy was freaking mayor of Cloud City. You don't get to be mayor of Cloud City unless you hustle.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm all about that. But yeah, and then we get the idea is like, no, look, it's a robot ship, it's a droid ship. So you get on that ship, it'll take you where it's going. And I booked you passage on it, and you can get off the world via that. No one's going to check your ID, which is a huge hole in the system. But
there have to be holes in the system, though. Any system like that only run with managed leaks.
Exactly. It's the intentional hole.
Right.
There was, it's the idea that, at a certain point corruption becomes institutional.
Right.
Where it's like, it's not even, it's like, no. The contract clearly says that this is the bribe. So you make this bribe and we do this, and this is how the system works.
I think large cities by nature are against our nature, and there has to be a lot of give and take and a lot of compromise to make cities run, and it can't always be proper.
Yeah,
always has
you see, and this will be my counter argument. I will say that is exactly our nature.
Right.
Human nature is exactly,
fair enough.
Let's work it out. Let's find, okay, what's the path of least resistance? What do you need? What do I need? How do we come out of this at the end?
Yeah.
Both happy.
Yeah.
We're both equally upset at the outcome.
Right.
How do we either both become equally sad or equally happy with what has transpired?
Yeah.
But
we also get that great scene with the Grand Inquisitor being betrayed by the third sister, what they call it, Raven. Rena.
Raven something. The actress's name is Mozz something or other. People were being assholes to her online.
Oh, how come?
Because she's black. I'm sorry. Did that?
Really?
Oh,
was the character traditionally not black, or?
No, honestly, this is not even one of the characters. This is just.
Huh. I thought she did a great.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate reality of our modern world is that pretty much anything will cause fanboys to riot.
Yeah, well, I mean, dummies are gonna talk about dummy stuff, so it is what it is. I guess they'll always.
Yeah. I mean, I don't dwell on it, and honestly,
it's one of my favorite pieces of acting in the show. You really got a sense of like where that itch from inside her soul was coming from, that no, you're not going to take me out of this. Like, you watch these old detective movies where someone's nephew gets killed and they're like, oh, you're too close to the case. He's like, how dare you? And he's going to go investigate the case anyway. You just know it. That's the kind of dogged determination she had after going after this bone. And you felt that with her character, and the sort of corporate ambitiousness in everything that she did was really, really fun to watch too. And you could see it coming. It's like, oh, okay, well, if you're gonna force that hand, Sure, go ahead, Grand Inquisitor, right this way.
I don't see her.
Phenomenal job.
I don't see her on the IMDb, which is weird. Yeah. I know that she's the third sister, so but anyway, I mean, I really, this was the thing about this, is that when she betrays the Grand Inquisitor, which is which is a thing, she does it. And at the same time, I don't think that's the death of him, because literally she stabbed him in the robot parts. It's like,
yeah, but at the same
why
time,
did you,
at the same time, she can't let him walk away from that. So she's like, even if he wasn't dead yet, she's gonna walk back over and go, okay, let's get that head off you, and just make sure. She's
it's this is what Obi-Wan has done to our fearless leader.
Yeah. She's not dumb. She doesn't. I don't think she's the type to leave loose ends.
I mean, I actually like the Grand Inquisitor character, so I hope not. But at the same time,
I don't know. I mean, he was scary at first, but he was kind of one-dimensional, right?
Yeah.
And if he didn't see this coming, if he wasn't a smart enough judge of character to know his people well enough that that's who she really was, she expected someone of her nature to stand behind him and not stab him in the back. Come on, man. You are way too arrogant.
Yeah, and to be fair, this answers that basic fanboy question of why doesn't the Grand Inquisitor look like the Grand Inquisitor in the Star Wars stories that we've already seen? And the answer is because, oh no, dude, this is a different Grand Inquisitor, and we're gonna get another one in a few minutes. Just chill, just relax your backs, and we're gonna get there. It's the idea that there's a lot more going on than what you have imagined in your little fanboy universe.
Right. To me, it just felt like he was the Grand Inquisitor of this region.
Yeah, exactly. And he was cool. I liked him. I did enjoy his scenery chewing.
Yeah. Especially when he makes quite an impression when you first meet him. And I thought we were gonna get a more evil and devious scene, because they look like they were setting up, and he goes, how you catch a Jedi? It reminded me of Christoph Waltz in
Inglourious Basterds.
Inglourious Basterds. How do you catch a Jew? I was like, my God, that's one of the most like sickeningly evil speech. And I thought that's what they were gearing up to do. But they softened up. I was like, oh man, I thought that's what we were gonna get.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing, is like Obi-Wan already knows this. Like the other Jedi, absolutely, he completely fit the profile, and he winds up strung up in the middle of town square. Yep. But at the same time, the other, Obi-Wan, he's not. He knows what'll get him caught, and he's not doing what will not get him caught. He is actively not using the Force because he knows every time he does, it's a big red flare up. Like when Anakin says in A New Hope, there's a presence I sense that I haven't sensed in many years. He means like literally, I sense the entire galaxy, and I have not sensed this guy in many years. Which makes me wonder if when we get our big showdown between Anakin and Obi-Wan, if there's going to be that moment where Obi-Wan kind of quote unquote dies off screen, but we don't see it, and Anakin just accepts that. Well, clearly, who could have survived that? And that's where Estrie comes in, and he actually uses magic, magnets, and saved Obi-Wan's life. That's my goal in life. I mean, that would be awesome if that happens, but we'll see what happens. And again, this is one where we do get little Leia not trusting General Kenobi. Like immediately questioning, well, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do that? And like, can you make me float? I love that. It's like, because that is exactly what a 10-year-old would say. It's like, okay, Jedi make me float. It's like, no, we're trying to not get noticed.
And I love that she almost goads him into that. Oh yeah, no, it's not, because if I could do it if I wanted to. Believe me, I could do it he totally becomes childish with her. Almost.
Yeah, well, of course, because that's the joy of childishness, and that's what I like. And then when she endangers herself, because at the end of the day, she's not going to listen to him. She runs off and she's going to do what she's going to do. And it's like, I need you to do what I need you to do. It's like, but that's not how it's going to work out. This is why I think not only is it beautifully acted, but Leah is incredibly well written in this scene, in this story. And that is one of the things I love. And at the end, they get on the ship and they're going off. And obviously, in the next 6 episodes, it's about returning Leia to Jimmy Smits, which is cool. But again, like I said, I really was hoping we'd get a little more Luke. But if nothing else, this explains why Luke doesn't know much about Ben Kenobi.
Right.
He knows there's an old crazy man up in the hills called Ben Kenobi, but that's all he knows.
Does he even know?
Any final thoughts on tonight's episode, Mozz?
I thought it was decent. I'm excited to see where it goes. But it's getting better. I hope it picks up still. I'm still not as invested as I thought I would be, having seen the trailer.
Yeah. Well, it's only 6 episodes, so we're already on 3 tomorrow.
So since they call it part 2, does that mean it's not season 1, episode 2? Is it a miniseries or?
Well, actually, as I understand it, like the first, like originally they were going to do an Obi-Wan movie. And so they shot some stuff for the Obi-Wan movie. Then they said, you know what, let's make this a series.
Gotcha. So it's just a thing that might see a further exploration.
Yeah. It basically, I think everything beyond what we see in episode 1 and episode 2 is going to be more of, okay, now we know we're a series, so how do we make this into a series?
Right. Oh, we have to talk about Boba Fett in this episode.
Who?
Boba Fett. That was Boba Fett, right?
Oh no! Actually, that's a fun fact. That is another clone. So that's
his voice. That was his voice. There was no mistaking that.
No, it's his voice because it's the same actor.
Right.
It's Tamara Morrison.
And then I thought to myself, they were trying to show us sort of like the different paths that the Jedi take versus what the Mandalorians take. The Mandalorians are hiding out, right? He's a Mandalorian. Look at him, but you wouldn't know it, right? That's not anything anybody has to worry about. They're hiding in plain sight. They don't make themselves known. Look at him. He just looks at him. You looked at him, and he looked at him too. He's like, wait a second. Did he know who he was looking at?
Yeah, because he was seeing another clone trooper.
Oh, so he knew. Okay, gotcha. Oh, that's why that helmet.
Yeah, he was a clone trooper who basically has separated from the Empire.
Gotcha.
Gone into retirement, as it were.
Gotcha. Interesting.
And that was Tamir Morrison. That is the same actor. And they put him the big red beard and the big shaggy hair, which I thought was a neat idea. Because usually when they do that, they do it as white because they're supposed to have accelerated aging, but they decided no, it's just give him a red beard, make it seem like he's a younger one. And I liked that, and I liked the fact that it was him, hiding in plain sight, as you said. Because he was a clone trooper who is trying to not be seen. He's probably very traumatized by Order 66, as you do. And now he's like, well, I guess I'm going to be whatever I'm going to be now. I got out from under the heel of the Empire, because we all know the Empire stopped using the clones, because the clones probably were too close to the Jedi, and probably after Order 66,
Hmm.
a lot of, why did I do that again? What was my thinking in that? And that is why they all got rid of them and started just recruiting random dudes. So that was a neat bit there.
Hmm.
All right. Final thoughts on tonight's episode, Mozz?
I dig it. The one thing I really dug about this was the scenery, the cyberpunk cities behind them. All that backdrop was really, really beautiful.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, this is sci-fi cities. Sci-fi cities are always a lot of stuff. Built out, pretty beautiful.
Yeah, they did a really nice job with the set design on this.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So hey, friends, did you like Obi-Wan episode 1 or episode 2? Why don't you write to us and tell us what you thought about it at CapesandLunatics@gmail.com. That's CapesandLunatics, all one word, at gmail.com. And of course, call us at 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And leave us a voice message. Tell us how much you loved it, how much you hated it, how much you like a review of it. And then go down to our link tree in the show notes. That's linktr.ee/CapesandLunatics, where you can buy all of our merch, including our delightful aluminum mugs that keep your cold things cold all night long, or various other objects like t-shirts and the like. And of course, you can also join our Patreon there, where if you, I believe if you give $5 a month, it's full video, and you will get to vote on our worst superhero movies of all time brackets. Puma Man is coming up. Puma Man may take the series.
Boy.
All right, Mozz. And if people would like to reach out to you and talk to you, how can they do that?
They can email me at mozzmanzor@gmail.com, or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzor. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
Wonderful. And of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way, the way our mothers and fathers once did. That's superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. And of course, follow me on Twitter as I live tweet things when I feel like it at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle. For what?
For quality. Bing.
Thank you, Mozz. All right, yes, Scurvy Land Lumberjack, come to the end of another glorious trip down the bounding main, where we have learned about what the Obi-Wan does when no one is looking. Come back again next week as we once again sail full stream ahead. Arg.
All right.
Thank you, Mozz, for doing this